Let's
Welcome.
fucking go.
Drop it.
Doing a bit, Zach.
Drop it.
Shut up.
You want me? Oh, am I supposed to be quiet?
Welcome.
Oh,
All right, that's the whole bit.
Do you want to? Oh, oh, let's start again with the silence.
Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Wait, let me see if I can. Well, I gotta fucking shove my face the whole way forward on this goddamn mask.
It's okay. First take. First
Wait,
try.
Mason, I'm
Nailed
gonna wait.
it. All right,
Wait till I
anyways.
can actually see it.
Welcome to Spooky Year 3.
I got
Let me make my
20.
face smaller. Yay! We're all here. Everybody's
We're all
here.
fucking here. Look at us.
My fucking ears. Okay, we're good. Everything's good.
It's a second. I take it off.
Just like normal.
Oh.
Fuck, I punched my mic. Also, I'm very proud of this. I made this.
Mask.
He did. It's very impressive.
I made this myself.
Look at him being good. Look at him being
Look
talented.
at me being a
shit.
cosplay, man.
Why does that deer have ears?
Hey, why does a deer have ears? Where do you see ears? What are
Big
you, my
holes.
kid? These?
That's-
That's eyes, you fucking dingus.
Then where are the smaller holes in front of them?
They're my eyes.
Oh. I guess that makes sense.
God damn, Keys, you gonna fucking pick apart everything? Alright, anyways.
I don't think deer have 4 eyes.
Holy shit.
They do have
That
damn
was-
glasses.
That shouldn't have been that funny.
So, welcome everybody to Year 3 of Spooky Stories. We got,
Welcome.
hopefully, some good ones for you.
No.
I have to go open Google Docs because I forgot to do that. And I think as is tradition, we go with Keys first, but I'll leave that up to you guys.
I mean, I always like the tradition of this. It's always fun for me.
It's always fun because he's usually not
first-
ready.
all right,
He
so
is ready
first-
for the first time ever.
The first year he was not ready.
The
Second
second
year
year he wasn't ready either.
Oh, he wasn't ready. All right, this year though,
This year, for some
he's
reason,
got
he's
it.
gotten his shit together, and he's ready.
I think he's got it. We believe in him.
I had to light a candle for ambience.
Ambience.
You're not even showing your face.
You gotta light the candle for the ambience.
It's for me. It's not.
Oh,
for
okay.
you.
It's for you to get in the mood. Okay.
No.
You gotta be in the spooky
To review
mood.
the rules.
Surprised he hasn't changed his picture to a spooky cat.
There are no rules.
Oh,
That is true.
Screw the rules. We have money.
No, that's Simba.
Screw the
I don't
rules,
change-
I
I
have
don't
green
change
hair.
them.
To review the rules,
Yes,
we don't talk while somebody's telling the story.
correct.
We wait until after. You are free to add in chat anything
Yes.
that you feel like. But otherwise, listen, and you can give constructive criticism and praise at the end.
Or not.
So, or just be dead silent the entire time and make us all question whether you're still here or if you left.
Yeah, well.
Or if you forgot to turn off your mic. But otherwise, you guys want to get to it?
Yeah. All right.
Fuck
Let's
yeah.
do it.
All right. Keys, you are up.
Believe in you, bud.
This music is not what I wanted it to be.
There
So, my bad.
you go. Okay.
We'll make it work.
Wait, who's going
No,
first?
I can't. this is horrible. This is like Halloween Town spooky music.
It's gonna be Yuki's. Did you still want to go first?
I guess.
We
How
can-
do you hear the how do you hear the music?
Well, he hears it for the stream.
I can, you know what? I can send
You
it
can
through.
share the spookiness to us.
Yeah.
That's fair.
You just
Let
have
me.
to assume he actually knows what spooky music is.
Yeah, right now we're on Halloween lo-fi radio. Oh fuck, that's gonna
Hell
dick
yeah.
everything up. Oh no.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay, you guys can hear it though.
no.
Correct.
No.
You gotta click on the stream keys.
Oh,
I was gonna say that's kind of your fault. I
Yeah.
can't make it fucking come through.
There you
This
go.
is not
I should-
better.
I tried
hear
it off
Zach, I
so-
don't
because
hear
it
the-
wasn't spooky at all.
No, it wasn't. I mean, like, I got kind of distracted just by all the shit I was trying to get ready, but
That's fair.
I'm not playing Monster Mash. That's copyrighted. Scary,
like
ominous,
Monster
creepy
Mash?
horror music. Let's hear it.
Yeah, no copyright lo-fi music. There's okay. Ooh.
Okay.
That's better.
Oh, this is more intense.
No, let's go.
What?
All right.
It spooked up Obi. He doesn't like it.
Mm-hmm. He's terrified.
That dog, he fucking scared. That dog ain't right.
Are you hungry or something, Bob? Is that what's
Fucking,
going
did
on?
you not feed him yet? Yeah, he's probably starving. You monster.
Also, well, I guess when Keys gets back, we'll introduce our special guest for the stream.
Dungeons and...
It's Melissa.
I was gonna do it when Keys was here.
I'm sorry, Zach. It was too easy to take it from you.
Because I just realized, I was like, oh shit, we haven't introduced Melissa yet, so.
I don't ever introduce anybody. My family fucking hates it.
You just walk in and there. Alright, so next time you come over, I'm just gonna start shouting, who are these people?
Who are these people and where is my horse?
It is amazing.
It is amazing.
Okay, I'm
Give
back.
it up. Anyway, what?
Okay.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to the stream.
The
God has abandoned you,
stream.
and all you've got are us 4 fuckers. 5 fuckers. Sorry.
5 fuckers. Welcome to the crew. You're now a fucker.
Whether you like it or not.
I thought we were murderers.
I mean, that's what we call our fans.
that is
but
the
we're not
name of our
fans.
group. Our fans.
Like Gratty's
our 5 people. You don't like Grotto's Arcade?
As it turns out.
You gotta do shit?
I gotta fucking try. What do you think this is? After hours?
Okay.
Alright. Where did my fucking... I had a million goddamn safety pins. What did I do with them? Alright, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Don't mind what I'm doing. It's not important to you. Alright.
I'm on.
Killing mics in 3, 2, 1. Go, Keys!
I want to see them. They're on there. So, prologue. In an alternate universe, Earth is plagued with never-ending war. Has ravaged most of the resources around the war to fuel the war effort. People are indentured to a mandatory 4-year service to the country's military and more if wanted. No pay is warranted. When a person turns 16, they are conscripted to their military and thrown out to the war that is happening. After their service, the person is transferred to a city where the war is a topic that is avoided or punishable if spoken about. The people living there do not pay for food or their houses. All is paid for by their service for their country. When their service ends, they are taken away to their new homes where they can still supposedly write to their friends in the service. Chapter 1. There is a ragged war zone of mute colors of gray and browns with splashes of red everywhere. Trenches are dug like... I hate you, Jake. Trenches are dug like mazes. Explosions and gunfire can be heard off in the distance. Maliko emerges from the bunker door and sees commanding officer Lieutenant Benny. He salutes him and says, "Private Maliko reporting to duty, sir." Lieutenant Benny replies, "At ease, soldier," and returns the salute. Maliko stands with his arms behind his back and awaits his orders for the operation that is happening. He is told he will be flying into enemy territory with a squad of 4 men, including himself. If you are shot down by enemy planes on your way there to the target, you are to shoot down any enemy planes on your way to the target and bomb the bunker located here. And he points at a spot in the map deep in Choi territory. There is a good chance you will not make it back, but higher-ups have stated all who return can knock a year off their conscription service and get 1 step closer to sweet life in the cities. He then looks to the end of the bunker near the giant doors that open only when incoming aircraft or when they leave. Your squad should be over there by the planes you will be taking. It is an Extraxia model, latest in stealth and speed. It comes with a 50 millimeter shell slinger and 2 penetrating bombs that once they hit the ground will drill 8 to 10 feet and then explode with an explosive yield of 5,000 yards. Good luck, soldier. You'll need it. And he salutes Maliko again and walks off. Maliko goes to meet with the squad that he will be flying with. On reaching the Extraxios, he spots 3 men standing around and smoking. one ginger-haired man who seems to be named Simmons. He was the gunner. A dirty blonde man who's named Norwin, and a bleach blonde man who's named Iram. They all go over the plans to make sure the planes to make sure they're in sound condition. The Extrexia are sleek red and white painted bi-winged planes with 2 mounted barreled guns and a 4-barreled gun in the back for the gunner and no propeller, but what looks like an air-fed engine that works like magic, according to Maliko, because he has no clue how these work. As they hopped in, Maliko turns the keys to the aircraft on and begins to purr like a kitten, but has a very powerful hum to it. The aircraft bay doors open and they take off to head towards their destination in enemy territory. They have flown for hours and Maliko still has no idea how much gas this aircraft has, as there is no gas gauge from the sea. I hate you guys so much. He's assumed they should be alright, as they were provided by the aircraft by their home country of Etrea. As they got closer, Iram comes over the radio and goes, what's that to the north? I don't think I've ever seen the sky look like that. As Maliko looks to where Iram was talking about, he sees this weird shimmer in the sky, and it seems to be growing in size. He decides to tell him to avoid it, and as he thinks it may be a trap set by the enemies. As they veer to the right to avoid it, the shimmer seems to jump in front of them and in their way, and then it rips open and swallows the plane's whole. Chapter 2. As Maliko awakens, he sees that both aircraft have crashed onto the ground and everybody looks all right. He tries to wake up Simmons, who was in his aircraft with him, and was able to get him semi-conscious and goes to check on the others while Simons comes to. Iram and Norwin were waking up as he gets there. Iram has no noticeable injuries, while Norwin has a broken leg. They make a makeshift tourniquet and put a cast on his leg and try to gather their surroundings. As they look around, they hear a loud roar in the distance. They all look at each other with expressions of, what the heck was that? Crap. Okay. The area they have crashed also does not look like any of the area they were just flying over. They decided to start hiking to the southeast, as that was the direction they flew from to get back to Etrea. A few miles into their trek back, they had to stop to let Norwin rest. Maliko decides to see what was up ahead just in case they found what was making that noise. Upon cresting the hill in front of him, he sees a building about 2 miles ahead. He looks through binoculars to see if he can spot anyone inside the building, and he sees no one of interest, if anybody at all. He also does not recognize the area. When he sees no signs of life, he figures it should be safe for him to sleep in for the night, and maybe find some medical supplies for Norwin. It starts to get dark as they arrive to the building. Upon looking in the windows, they still see no signs of life. Though in the back, they could see some red flashing lights. The front door seems to be unlocked, so Maliko takes point and makes sure the first room is clear before anyone else enters. As he proceeds to the back where the lights are flashing, he thought he saw something in the corner in one of the rooms on his way there. But when he opens the door to that room, there's nothing in there. He then finds the breaker box and the switch to turn off the flashing lights. He presses it and turns the breakers on to get the whole facility back online. Then that's when he hears the roar again, but it seems like it's farther away this time. He does not want to hear how loud it is if it's up close, as it is very loud still, even though it's far away. In one of the doors off the main room, they find a smaller room with a bed where they lay Norwin down to rest while they go look for supplies to help him and maybe some food. Maliko and Simmons look upstairs while Iram checks the main floor. Maliko and Simmons walk room to room, find more beds, with some with manacles, some without. And then all the rooms, for some reason, have a grate in the middle of the room. When checking one of the rooms, they hear this weird gurgling sound coming from the grate, like water was draining into it, but the floor is dry. They pay it no mind and keep looking around. As they were about to enter the last door, Iram comes over the radio, asking him to come downstairs and check out the room that he found. When they arrive, they find a room with a multi-screen computer inside, showing pictures from what they assumed was the surrounding area, and some are inside the building itself. In one of the images in the corner that they do not notice, a grate is lifted up and is slowly being lowered by an unseen force. They decide to go check on Norwin, and after not finding anything to help with his leg, but they did find some salvageable food in the kitchen. When they enter the room, Norwin is not there, but there's some viscous material dripping from the ceiling, and what they find is some bloody fingerprints on the grate in the middle of the room, but they did not find any signs of Norwin or what may have happened in the room. Then they hear a different sound roars than what they heard from before. They quickly turn around, don't see anything, and realize the noise was coming from inside the grates. They get out of the room as quickly as possible and seal the door. "Where the fuck is Norwin?" says Simmons. "I don't know, man. There was blood on the grate. Could have been his, but we didn't hear any struggles or scream until we got in there," gasped Maliko. "Well, whatever that noise was, it sounds hungry and angry," Iron calmly says. "We need to get out of here and find the way back to the base." As he says this, he looks to the front door and sees a massive shape, unsure of what it is, charging the building from the door they came in. And right before it hits the door, blast doors slam down, barricading the windows and the doors of the building. They then hear a loud thud coming from the blast doors. "Well, there goes our escape route. There must be another way out of here and away from whatever the fuck that was. Maybe it's what got Norwin." They all run back to the computer room and look through the cameras to see if they can find another door. As they are flipping through, they stop on one camera and watch as a tentacle-like creature slithers off the ceiling and in one room and into the grate, leaving behind what looks like a ball. "Oh God, that's Norwin!" exclaimed Simmons as he looked closer, noticing it was Norwin's head. "But what the fuck was that creature that slithered away? I have never seen one of those before." They find a door finally find a door in the screens and map a route from their location to the door and start running that way. Upon arrival of the first door they encounter, they find they need a pen or a key card to get in. Someone says, "I think I saw one of those on the counter in the kitchen. I didn't know what it was. I'll run back and get it." Hopefully that creature sticks to the crates and doesn't attempt to get out of the rooms. As he starts to run, he hears a screeching of a creature off in the distance and turns to see the other two right before the creature snatches him up and rips him in half. Seeing this, Melitho shoots the keypad, which allows them to get through the door, and they dash outside. When we get back, we gotta have them bomb this place so that creature doesn't make it outside this building, Melitho says through heavy breathing. As he says this, a tentacle slithers out the door and grabs Iram and attempts to drag him inside as he grabs the door grabs the door. I can't think of the word I'm trying to think of. If I didn't write it, it would have been better. As he's grabbing the door, Melitho takes his gun and shoots the tentacle, which causes the creature to screech and back off. The door then slams and locks behind it. As they are catching their breath, they can feel what feels like drool dropping on top of them. As they look up, they see a quadruped above them with razor-sharp yellow teeth. Excuse me. 6 red eyes looking at him, right at Iram, and it's covered with a fur-like substance. And as it's looking at him, it grows 4 wings that look similar to a moth's, and it has a tail of a tiger. As it growls with a deep guttural growl, it pounces on Iram, and Melitho bolts as he hears Irem scream in agony as the creature eats him alive. It then howls to the moon and its hackles raise as it noses Melitho running away and starts to charge. As Melitho is running, he notices a small building about a mile ahead, which he could possibly hide in. So he runs full speed towards this building, hoping he gets there before the monster catches up. He hears it behind him, running and growling at him as it's gaining on him. Just as he gets to the door of the building, he hears it pounce and hits the top of the overhang instead of him. Not giving it a chance, he opens up the door and turns to shut it just as the creature lunges at the door, closing it behind him. He turns around, panting out of breath, and notices he's back in the Styrian hangar with Lieutenant Benny in front of him. Private Melitho, good to see you show up on time. Your mission today is to take those 3 men over there with the 2 Extrexia planes and bomb this bunker in Shoy territory. The end.
I don't know how to feel about the fact that you killed us off, but whatever.
God damn!
I don't know what you guys are talking about. You guys aren't a part of the story.
Liar.
You guys were totally the names, and I was like, nah, I'm not going to include the guys in it.
Otherwise, it was good.
I liked it.
I feel like you could have I completely forgot which ones we were, like who was who. You could have reinforced it by just kind of like describing the character as they're like dying, like, oh, it's fucking copper-colored hair and just getting ripped to shreds by alien.
Because, like I said, it's kind of unfinished, so I didn't have really descriptors of anybody in it other than
That's fair.
You, like, at the very beginning. And then I was like, I'm not describing anybody, I'm just going to write it, and if I decide to write more, I'll actually go in and put more details in.
Yeah, fair enough.
But, like, basically, it's like Groundhog Day for him. That's why it ended where it did, so I could write more. I'm thinking about, like, having it, like, be different ways that the story happens when they get swallowed by the sky.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I was for a second with it being military base. I was like, "Is this inspired by a true event that happened while you were serving?"
To be honest,
something we're not supposed to
about
know.
my service when I started the story. I was like, "I'm making an Air Force story."
I could tell because you were like describing the planes and their guns and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
It sounded like the way you started it made it sound like it was written as like a retelling of like a mission.
Mason, we know you we could see your story the whole time, right?
Nope.
I typed it out.
Oh.
Well, whatever. Don't look
Spoilers.
at it. Don't look at it.
wasn't looking at it anyway.
Fuck you.
I can't read it. I don't have my glasses. That's why I kept losing my
There,
place.
do you
I was
see it
like,
now?
I can't see.
No.
Okay.
That was great though, man. I like
was
that.
Good.
It was fun. So, was there anything that inspired you for that?
Nah, not really.
Okay, I always like to know if there's something that inspires you for it.
Like, it was just an idea I had for, like, a comic book.
Nice.
And then the other story I was writing that, one of the stories I was writing before I scrapped that idea was another story I've attempted to write, like, 4 or 5 times about one of my D&D characters.
So, if you said it was like Groundhog Day, did you plan it for be like the reveal is that it's like a Groundhog's Day?
Yeah,
Or
he
that
that he's in an endless loop of him.
okay.
like,
Is he
Every
trying to
he
get
dies
out,
or something, and he
So,
tries
like,
to, like, stop
what was
trying to get
that?
out of it?
What was that
Yeah.
movie? Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
but better.
That was a good movie. I don't know what you're talking about.
I hated that movie so much.
For fucking what?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know
Why?
what it was about that movie. It's been so, like, I saw it in theaters. Maybe if I watched it again, I'd
Yeah,
like
maybe
it. But, like,
if you weren't also 21.
is that when that movie came out?
Nah, it came out in like 2013, 2014.
Maybe Mason just likes it because he was a part of Scientology.
Hey, that's not true. I actively rail against that.
Holy
This is the
crap.
big reveal. This is the big reveal.
So it's probably because I was in the military and in discomfort while watching it because I was in a military theater watching it.
Oh, well, then, see, look at that. You just gotta watch it again.
Yeah, I'll give it another shot out.
All right, well,
But-
you fuckers already got mine, so I guess I'll go next.
because you made me give Cowboy Bebop another shot. So
Abu Bipo.
Did you actually like that? I can't remember.
Oh, the
I
shitty
said I
Netflix
found
one?
it all right. Like it, I still didn't like
That's a
love
hot
it,
take.
but I found it all right.
What you got?
Good enough.
What you got?
I'll take it.
It was better than my first opinion, which was this is fucking garbage.
Zach, what you drinking on?
That is
I'm drinking a
objectively
Parito.
fair.
A burrito?
I am
Jarrito.
drinking a
Oh,
pumpkin
Jarrito.
beer because it's spooky season. I'm in a cozy blanket.
I'm drinking lavender and lemonade hot wax.
I was drinking a
Wait, hold on.
liquid death.
It's pretty fucking hot, Jake. Sorry, hold on.
Thanks.
This is how they do it. Put their hand behind things so you can see it.
It got
Yeah.
liquid death. That's
Not
good shit
sponsored.
right there.
I had to tie a very specific knot that
Desperately
needed
want to be
to.
sponsored. Desperately want to be
Oh,
sponsored.
I would take a Liquid Death sponsorship like fucking that.
I bet
Same.
you would take it.
What?
I'll put one in his chest cavity.
I'll put
Actually, that'd be really funny in and of itself. You could just shove it in his jaw. That'd be really funny.
Just
probably why he
break it more.
He didn't have liquid death, that's why he died.
He died.
Oh my god.
Shit.
I actually don't mind the idea of building him lungs out of Liquid Death.
Do you hear what we're giving you, Liquid Death? A great ad.
How many
Perfect.
cans do you need to build these lungs?
It's two, obviously.
Yeah,
I have
one
them
for each
already.
one.
I have like
Alright.
12
Alright.
cans.
I
You guys ready?
Okay. Yeah. I guess we can fucking do yours.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to do it? I don't
No,
care.
no, I'm excited to hear yours.
Okay.
When we mutant boys.
Mute now.
Mutant now.
Alright. Everyone's quiet. What a fucking blessing. Alright, now we're just going to sit here for the next 35 minutes. And I'm just going to enjoy the quiet. I was honestly waiting for one of them to unmute. Okay. The sun crested over the curve of the earth, and he watched with some faint joy as he did every cycle as its rays came shining down upon him and his moon. He had crashed upon Earth some 4 billion, or had it been 5 now, years ago, and grew quickly tired of the incessant tectonic activity and all its damnable noise. So, in order to free himself, as his ship had been broken beyond swift repair, he shoved his hands into the still new Earth and heaved out a chunk of it, hurling it into space. He had not accounted for gravity, though, and his new makeshift ship stopped short of breaking orbit. The downside to this was that he was now marooned on a rock filled with several large lava oceans. The upside was that it was at least quiet. And so here he remained, working on his ship, using its long-range scope to watch the odd creatures that would eventually spread over the entire Earth and all their strange little quirks. After a few million years of work, his ship was back up and running, but by then he rather liked being alone and on his own moon, and decided to stay. He watched the little creatures come from the water, the ones that his brother Baugi didn't fight to extinction, and grow into the first little primates who fashioned stone tools and then creatures smart enough for primitive spaceflight. He had already seen 6 previous launches to his home, and each time they'd managed to land far enough away from him that the meager equipment didn't have the range to reach him. There was also that one dog that was launched into a space probe. He had little concept of what a dog was, but that was how the dog thought of itself. He had felt bad for the creature and put it in stasis so it would not perish. After all, starving to death in a void is a miserable death. Ferax enjoyed his time watching the primates so much that he had even taken on the role as their protector from the vast void of space. Whenever a meteor would come hurtling towards the planet, he would swat it out of the sky and shatter it to millions of shards. He had dissuaded several members of his kin from destroying or subjugating the planet as they flew in. He would stop their ships and announce himself. I am Ferax the Strong, Ferax the Moon Ripper, Ferax of the Old Way. You will leave. This is my world. And they would, because everyone had heard stories of Ferax the Strong. Ferax, the creature who would rip apart primordial entities with only the effort it took to move his body. And once, he would think in his lonesome, peaceful home, he would have utterly decimated those kin, leave them strewn around the orbit as a warning to others. He'd have ruled this planet's beings from a fortress built inside of the moon. Long before his journey to Earth, Ferax had been a prolific warrior and a true nightmare to the cosmos at large. He had torn elder gods asunder, ripped apart entire planets. His sister Alga would plunge entire star systems into darkness by eating the star they orbited, and Ferax would lay low the beings within. He always reasoned that this was a kinder act than letting them die slowly in darkness. His last battle had been one too many. He had fought with his older brother, Daerok, who had tried to stop him from wiping out an empty world. Daerok explained that the world he and Alga would curse with darkness and obliterate was home to a species of flora not found anywhere else. Oh. Sorry, I forgot a comma. Not found anywhere else. They had some sort of property that Daerok tried to explain, but it fell on deaf ears. Ferax had thought this a terrible reason. Had he not destroyed countless worlds with unique beings? What made this flora so special? Here, Ferax found himself filled with remorse, remembering what was to come, realizing only after the fight that the plant was special because Daerok deemed it special. That should have been enough. They fought. The planet was not destroyed entirely, but there is a crater that eats up 65% of the surface now. Daerok was not weak by any means, but Ferax had always been stronger. With his final blow using an old form of antimatter conjuration, Daerok crippled one of Ferax's legs. A wound that would heal, but leave him with a slight limp that most took for a swagger of bravado. Ferax had crushed Daerok's head as a result, killing him instantly. And while Alga tried to assure him that there was no other way, Ferax sat holding his brother, trying to will him back to life. Ferax then forbade Alga from eating the star the planet circled and flew off in his ship to find solitude, crashing into a newly formed planet. But that was long ago, and before he was content. Before there were small, fragile creatures on its surface, Ferax had invited his closest family to come live in peace with him, something none of them were very good at. For example, Balgi loved fighting. There was Atlacha, who was quiet, peaceful, but these days he was too filled with rage after the slaughter of his charges. He tolerated them, though. They didn't try to blow the place up, and that was enough for him. Except Kitra, of course, but she got herself lodged in one of the ice caps for all the good it did her. While thinking of these things and reliving the old days of tearing dimensions to shreds, he noticed something on approach to his moon. A rocket. The 7th time humanity made its way to his creation. Ferax smiled, moon dust falling from the cracks of his face, wondering, when was the last time I made a facial expression? The rocket landed closer than the others. Not that he was concerned with discovery. The man who planted the flag couldn't get near to half the way to Ferax without stopping, though he really didn't want to be found. The primates always asked so many questions from what he'd seen, and he didn't want to answer them. Ferax shrugged and went back inside his ship to continue reminiscing. Unknown to him, the rocket released its lander and sent it towards the cratered, dusty surface of the moon. Its trajectory was miscalculated, and it deviated the expected course by some 15 degrees, landing it within 2 miles of Ferax's ship. Ferax sat around tinkering with things in his ship to keep it running in top form, until he realized it was time for the next cycle's sunrise. Ferax left his ship and found at the base of it 2 tiny men. The 2 astronauts stared up at Ferax. Wide-shouldered and 23 feet tall, he cut an imposing silhouette. And at this point, for the first time since Alga's last visit, he spoke.
Weren't you, landing further out?
This seemed to give the astronaut pause until he said, We were, but we drifted off course.
Oh, well, that's, bad luck.
Ferax did his best to smile and seem non-threatening. This had the undesired effect of terrifying the astronauts as his face cracked and dropped dust and revealed the craggy rock of Ferax's face. His eyes were pure void, and his face was made up of a red-orange stone that was floating around when the universe was new. One of the men screamed, and Ferax's smile fell.
Oh, please don't make that noise. That noise is horrible, and if I'm not mistaken, it means distress. I will not harm you. Please stop.
What are you?
Well, my people don't really have a word for what we are, but you may call me Ferax Moonmaker.
Moon? Wait, are you saying you made the moon? Ferax was already growing tired of this interaction. His name was Moonmaker. What else could it mean?
Yes, that is correct. Now please, get off my moon. Or at least go somewhere else on it.
How long have you been here?
Eons. Now, please.
I have so many questions.
Ferex didn't like the sound of that. He had come out here for peace, for quiet, and right now, the tiny primates who made it to his moon were ruining that. He liked them better when they were simpler, and further away. But now they knew he was here. Now they'd start coming more and more. Or worse, they'd try to destroy him, and then he'd have to retaliate. He couldn't have that. Couldn't deal with that again. Well, I must be going now. You've ruined a perfectly good spot to spend the rest of eternity by coming up here and bothering me. Ferex walked back to the ship and brought back out a small stasis pod containing the small dog and handed it to the astronaut. That creature is alive and well. Do not open its capsule until you are home. And please do not shoot any more animals into the void. This place is inhospitable at the best of times, and it did not do anything other than starve to deserve this. Wait! We won't tell anyone about you. You don't have to leave. I might be a being of the old ways, but I am not senile nor stupid. Plus, you're going to just stand there and badger me until you run out of air. Goodbye, tiny earthling. May you never wake my sister and survive longer than most. And so saying, Ferex climbed back into his ship and shut the door. He waited until the primates got the hint and took the dog back to their lander before it too departed. Ferex hesitated. He didn't want to leave. He liked the moon. But he also couldn't stay and have them bother him. In the end, he decided to compromise. He'd go out just beyond the Earth and wait until everyone who would have known about this was dead and then come back. Short 70 or so years. Easy. With a smile back on his face, satisfied with his choice, his ship raised off the surface of the moon for the first time since the Earth was made and left a new crater the size of a small ocean. And Ferex flew slowly off into the void to wait. The astronauts returned to Earth and were greeted as heroes. The one who hadn't screamed, Harrison Schmidt, brought home the dog everyone knew as Laika and found that she was in good health and quite the happy dog. His superiors were confused by the animal and planned subsequent missions to the moon when Schmidt showed them the footage of the alien ship leaving the moon. These were eventually scrapped due to classified reasons that Schmidt was never privy to, and to his final days, he would wonder about the lonesome spaceman and what the hell he meant by, "May you never wake my sister." The end.
Very good.
Good.
Part 3.
Yeah, I always like that it's all connected.
And then I've got 2 more, and then it's done. I don't know why I decided to make a fucking MCU out of it.
How is it related to the? I heard it, Latcha. I can't remember.
So he's just a sibling. He's the first one that made it here.
Okay.
Before the other siblings came.
God.
He's the one that invited them.
Is this
right.
before or after the last one where the star fell?
Before. So this would have been the Apollo 17, I think.
My favorite astronaut, Apollo.
I remember you saying last time, the person that you mentioned was the sister, was the fallen star, right?
Yeah.
That's why.
So that one was in the 90s because that was around Jonestown. And then this one would have been the Apollo 17 mission.
Well, I'm glad I wasn't crazy. I was like, I'm sitting here listening. I'm like, am I missing something? I wasn't here last year, so that makes sense.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, whatever. I feel like they stand on their own decently well.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at.
Zach, did you like the Swagger Boy I sent you?
Swagger Boy.
Oh yeah. I had a couple spots where I clearly went back and inserted a line, and I was like, oh okay, I fucked that up because I forgot to actually work that in properly. That's not good. So there were a couple pauses where I'm like, I have to work out what my stupid ass brain was trying to say.
I don't know why I just sent it to Zach, but I looked up the word pimp when you said swagger. I sent him a picture of Grimace in a pimp outfit.
Oh God, I wish I didn't know that existed.
That's why it's that in the main chat.
I like that you tied in the fucking space dog.
I was thinking about it, I'm like, is there a way that I can... Because what I wanted to do initially was have him have a pet dog. Right. And it was going to be the space dog. But I'm like, there's no way that a dog could survive in space. I'm like, I know I'm making a giant alien that travels on comets, but it's
got to be realistic.
But I got to keep it within a certain realm of realism.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, fuck it. It'd be funnier if he just saw it floating by. I was like, what the fuck is that?
That's fucking weird.
Why is that metal thing barking?
Oh shit, that's good shit.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, was there anything that really inspired you about it? Like to write it like that one?
Kinda. So not really, but like I'm. It's gonna be very funny for you, Zach, specifically.
Yes.
Battle for the Grid.
Fucking hate you.
So here's why. So in like one of the later levels, you're like on New Earth, and it's all like craggy and erupting all around you, and I'm like, man, I bet New Earth was fucking loud. And I'm like, wouldn't it be funny if like an alien landed here and was like, fuck this, and just left? I'm like, wouldn't it be funnier if that's just how the moon was made? I'm like, all right, I'm in. I got it now.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, like how he was saying, like he could forgot to work some things in on mine. Like some of the spots I stopped at, I was just like, well, I'm gonna skip this line because it tells me to insert noise for this monster.
Oh my god.
And like when you guys were like, it's too loud and too quiet at the same time, I was like, okay, I can't use this.
Not a lot you can do about that.
You should have done your best dinosaur screech.
You could have. Okay, so
Keith,
if you ever do that again, you can like send me the monster sounds, and I can put them on the soundboard, and you could just like give me a cue to make it go.
Master.
Okay.
Master Rain.
So like, if you ever need to do that again, just let me know. We'll work something out.
Okay, we'll do.
British Scooby.
Because I have no clue where my soundboard is at the moment. That's one reason why I didn't use that.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, which one of you two schmucks wants to go next?
You want to go ahead, Jake?
I mean, I can if you want.
Wow, Zach's going last this year.
I feel like
He goes last
one of
every
these
year. What are
years.
you talking about?
I always go last every year.
Yes.
I thought you went last year.
You went last year. I feel like it
Did
makes
I?
sense that Mason or I goes last because it's our stream.
Yeah.
One of
That's
us
fair.
should probably go last.
Does the music stop?
It shouldn't have. It's 3 hours.
Oh, okay.
I have no clue. I stopped watching
It's just
it.
quiet.
No, it was just not playing anything.
All right. Muting in 3. Is this music good, Jake?
Yeah, it's fine. No,
Okay.
It's not really
I'm
super
excited,
important.
Jake.
Muting in 3, 2, 1.
They're sweaty.
Your palms are swayed like spaghetti.
Absolutely. It was a stormy day in the valley of the Pacific Northwest mountain ranges. Not an unheard of occasion, but ultimately stunning. Low clouds rolling over the hills, the peaks of the mountains in the background. A light mist, the sky being backlit by the sun occasionally peeking through, brilliant rays spotlighting the hillside and rivers. I've always known that this place was special, but to call it home feels unreal when I see sights like I have today. My father calls out to me, snapping me out of the picturesque bliss that I find myself in. He reminded me why we're out here, to hunt small game, before the winter months preparing for the harsh weather to come. He's always shown me how to survive out in the wild and protect myself, but I've noticed he's been more deliberate with his teachings, almost anxious. I'm not exactly sure why he's been more stern and direct with me recently. Maybe he doesn't see me as capable, or maybe it's that we are both know our time is coming for me to go out my own. With no answers to the previous questions, I walk back to his side. Him being noticeably larger than me, which wasn't a surprise due to the fact him living his entire life out in the wild, which isn't kind to the small and feeble. With me being a mirror image of my father, I hope to one day be a fraction of what he has become today. Without making a sound, he motions to me to continue the hunt, scanning the area, looking for signs of broken limbs, hair, tracks, etc. We continue walking down the unbeaten path, pushing past the bushes and the ferns that cover the landscape in a never-ending envelopment of foliage, a sea of green. We continue walking and listening for the forest creatures by the snap of a twig, rustling of the bushes, my attention always being pulled back to the deafening silence lurking behind, the occasional break by the howling wind, and the white noise of nothingness constantly playing in the background. As I come back to it, I notice a small trail ahead, like a tunnel in the undergrowth, with fresh tracks like a small highway. I'm sure many critters use this day-to-day basis. I'm excited that I'm able to keep us on the trail in this maze of greenery. I look back in excitement. My father walking close behind as I look back to him, his expression on his face with somewhat proud but still reserved look. Seeing if I remember the next steps to take in the hunt. I focus back up and getting low to the ground with my father following suit. Creeping over the next ridge, trying to expose as little as possible, we made our way forward. We heard a rustling ahead, but different to the wind, almost deliberate. Me and my father freeze, not to scare away the prey. Luckily, we're upwind, so they didn't have our scent as we stalked closer. We silently creep forward on the wet, soft ground, muffling our steps, looking over the ridge, down a steep hillside covered in rocks, maybe 10 feet lower than our current position. We spot a small pack of rabbits eating shrubs and ferns, distracted by their dinner, but still very on edge, almost like they can sense us in a strangely surreal way. I look at my father's face, unfazed by the body language, knowing he has probably seen many animals in this way before, which put me at ease. He signals to me to split off to see if we could surround them from both sides of the pack, run them up the rocky hillside, essentially trapping them against the ridgeline. I nod to my father, understanding what needs to be done. It was vital that we stayed silent as we maneuvered around into position. Slowly, I make my way around, heart pounding out of my chest, nervous but eager. Taking each step with caution, wary of making a sound. I'm able to see my father on the other side of the ridge, making his way down seemingly effortlessly, almost gliding down the hillside like you see a river flowing through a valley, reminding me that I still have so much to learn. Watching him in awe, I take my next step, unconsciously stepping over a small log covered in moss and mushrooms from a fallen tree that had been there for years. But while distracted, I mistakenly snap a twig attached to the fallen log. My eyes widen as the realization of the mistake I've made. The rabbits, without hesitation, stand on their hind legs, alerted to the sound of a predator close by. I lay on the ground, immediately alerting them. I lay on the ground immediately after alerting them of my presence and see my father rises due to the rabbits looking in my direction. They slowly start moving back to the woods with caution. As soon as they make their move, my father does the same. The element of surprise is blown. But there's no time to dwell on it's now time to take action. I stand up as fast as I can, bolt into an immediate sprint, running parallel to the log across the ground, it acting as a barricade to block their vision of me cutting off their escape route. My father was close behind, doing the same on the opposite side. In this moment, the rabbits realized the grave danger that they found themselves in. Screeching then filled the air, sending chills down my spine as the adrenaline filled my veins. I cut off 3 of the rabbits while 2 managed to squeeze by me, which was fine, but I couldn't let any more get away. I jumped forward, laying out in the air to grab one of them as I land. I brush past the tail of the fleeing creature as it leaps over the log into the forest. The other 2 continue along the ridgeline. I scramble back to my feet as fast as I can and continue the chase. In my peripherals, I see the blur of speed, no attempt of concealment. My father came locked in and determined. He leapt on an unreal distance, almost flying, and was able to land, demanding an unwavering swipe to instantly disable the creature. As the rabbit lay motionless on the ground, the others scurried away under the log, squealing in fear for its life, dashing into the full sprint back into the forest, gone in a moment, like a strike of lightning. I look to my father with an irritated but understanding expression on his face as he gathers the kill and starts head back to the direction of our home. I slowly gather myself and clean the dirt and mud off of me from the fall I took during the chase. In that moment, I felt like I failed my father. Although we were able to catch a dinner, it wasn't much of a consolation prize in that very moment, knowing I still had so much to learn. I orient myself towards the home and slowly follow behind my father at a distance, thinking about almost completely messing up the hunt if I was alone. I probably would be going home empty-handed. He slowed down and allowed me to catch up, my head still hanging low. My father apologized to me about the irritation he showed on his face moments ago, which caught me off guard. I told him that it was okay. I understand that if you weren't here, we probably wouldn't be eating tonight. He consoled me and reassured me that it's okay to make mistakes as long as I learn from them, and I don't make the same mistakes in the future, because he couldn't always be there for me. Thinking of him being out of my life would be devastating, but makes me thankful to have him here now. We arrived to our home. It's not impressive, but it's our shelter we call home. A small hole in the side of the cliffside. But once we enter, it opens up to a large cavernous room, ceilings taller than some trees. The pillars of stone filled the center of the room. There was a somewhat large hole in the ceiling that allowed sunlight to enter, giving us some natural daylight and a small stream of water coming down, running further down into the cave. My father drops the rabbit and heads into the area of the cave, exclaiming that he needed the rest after the hunt, saying, "I'm not as young as I used to be." I take the rabbit, make it for dinner, and leave the other half for my father. After about an hour, my father comes out of the cave and thanks me for leaving me the half of the rabbit. I explain to him it's thanks to him that we have anything at all. He musters up a small grin, thinking if it wasn't for me causing the distraction, we may never caught the rabbit either, which I never thought of it that way. He mentions to me that living out in the wild, you're allowed to make mistakes, but nature is not forgiving. Things will be hard and it may look grim at times, but you always make it through. And as long as you never give up. I thought to myself, thinking about all the trials and what he had to go through to get here, and wonder if I was ready for those same trials and could stand as he does today. With the sun lowering in the sky, the clouds moving out, the light just peeking over the hilltops on its way to becoming night. The night sky almost resembling a rainbow transitioning from dark to light blues in an array of purples, reds, and yellows. It was a spectacle to behold. But that's when I heard the sounds that haunt my nightmares for years to come. Howling, but not normal howling that you've heard at the forest at night. It's short, boisterous howls followed by a crescendo of long, drawn-out snarls and growls. We could hear them coming from over the hilltops. My father and I shot up. I looked at him and he was looking to the hills where we had come from earlier. He looked worried. I've never seen the expression from him, and for the first time in my life, I knew what real fear felt like, seeing the one person I thought to be unshakable. I looked over to him for what to do, but he never looked away from the ridgeline as I backed away slowly to the cave. Behind all the howls and snarls, we could hear the unsettling sounds of it. I couldn't discern what animal they came from, but it was no kind of animal I've ever heard before. It sounded like they were communicating to each other, or something. That's when I saw those vicious beasts. They stood at the crest of the hill, silhouette from the sunlight behind them, showing them to be low to the ground, short but muscular legs, broad shoulders, large heads, and short pointed ears. They were frantically looking from side to side, like they were looking for something, and I feared that they were close to what they were trying to find. My father looked at me and explained to me that I needed to run. I was stunned. I've never heard pure terror in a shaky voice, as if almost knowing what these beasts are capable of. I told him that I'm not leaving him. He turned to me, and with the most soul-piercing look, he shot pins and needles into my body, shouting, "You need to leave now," he exclaimed. Climb the rocks on the cliffside, get to the top of the cave, and never look back. Everything in my heart told me to stay by his side, but seeing his reaction told me everything I needed to know. He told me that he loved me and to follow the river. If I make it to the grasslands there, I would be safe. He taught me everything I needed to know to survive. I told him I loved him too, with tears filling my eyes. I started to climb to the top as I start to the cliff. I hear the strange, unsettling sounds again from the unknown animal, and the silhouette from the hillside started bolting down towards the cave, where my father held his ground. The growls got closer and more vicious as they closed in on our home. The fear inside of me grew, not knowing the horrors that invaded our valley. I've made it close to the top of the cliff when I heard my father making the loudest thunderous roar to scare and discourage the beasts. But it was no use. There was a pack of them, about 5. If it just one, I believe he could take them on, but the group, he had no chance. As I look back, climbing the rocky hillside, I could see the ridgeline more clearly, where the beasts just sprinted from. I noticed 2 shadowy figures cresting over the hill. But these beings were nothing I've ever seen before. Tall, slender, hairless creatures with large, multicolored eyes. They shuffled along on 2 feet, being propelled by long legs, and came in different variety of colors. I was stunned. A cold wind swept across my body, seeing these unwanted visitors march into the valley. I glanced back down towards the cave entrance and saw my father swiping at the monsters and continued to snarl and growl, trying to keep them at bay. But it did no good as they slowly surrounded him and forced him to retreat into the cave. I made it to the top of the cliff and looked over the edge, looking down at the beasts at the entrance. I was able to get a better look at these beasts. They looked rabid, foaming at the mouth with each sound, hairless creatures with large forward-facing teeth. As they continued their deafening howls, it looked like they've stopped their advances and were waiting for something at the entrance of the cave. I turned back to the two shadowy figures to see if they had that they had shuffled down the valley following the same path as the beasts. As they were making their trek down the hillside, the sounds I heard earlier came from these two shades. They looked at each other, communicating with these sounds and showing their teeth as they continued down. I've never seen these things before. My curiosity piqued, but not overridden by the fear I felt in that moment. The shades then arrived at the entrance of the cave, standing next to the beasts, and it became clear that they were working together. Without missing a beat, they commanded the beasts to enter the cave. I feared for my father as they charged in. I immediately heard a scuffle ensue. I bolted to the hole at the top of the cave, and what I saw was the most gut-wrenching scene I've ever witnessed. My father being surrounded by every angle of these beasts, biting at his legs, pulling him from every direction with their jaws, as he attempted to fight them off, but there was too much to defend. I look to the entrance of the cave and see the two shades standing tall. Then they command the beast to back off, and in an instant the pack releases the grip from my father's body, still alive, as they retreated. As I go to back away from the skylight, I stammer and push loose rocks surrounding the hole. It sends a pile of rocks and dust into the cave, and the reflection from the shade's eyes snaps directly to me, revealing my position. Commanding the beast to hunt me down with a single sound, they bolt like a flash and are on my trail. My blood runs cold seeing what they're capable of. And I knew I didn't stand a chance if I didn't leave now. I run faster than I ever have before. Forest blurs as I run, water filling my eyes knowing what's coming. An abrupt bang rolls out, ringing from the cave. Hearing my father writhing in pain as I writhing in pain, followed by a second explosion. Then silence. Running, fighting for every breath, as I'm fending for myself for the first time in my life. Sorry guys. A scared hearing sound, beast closing in on me, running in any direction. Getting away is my only goal. Looking for any means of escape, I decide to run to the river that my father mentioned earlier. Just run down the valley, veering off the main path, leaping over rocks and bushes. I look back to see the first monster clamber up the ridge. I see the beast stumbling about 100 feet behind me, fighting the pack for position to be the first to reach me. I leapt from the top of a boulder, heading down the direction to the river, darkness filling the night sky, making it hard to keep my footing. I roll my ankle as I leap off the boulder and start sliding down the hill, the slick ground covering me in dirt and mud. As I tumble down the hillside, rolling uncontrollably, then abruptly slamming into a log near the bottom. In the chaos of the moment, I notice an opening in a fallen log, and I think to myself, this may be my only chance of escape. I squeeze into the log, no larger than 3 feet wide, and I hope to go unnoticed. The growls grow louder and snarls fiercer as they close on my position. I can hear them making their way down the hillside I previously crashed down. Before I knew it, one runs past at full speed. Hearing the crashing of the plants as it barrels past in the blinding pace, a few more followed suit and blindly following the leader of the pack, trekking down the hillside. They stepped off the log, jumping to keep up with the leader, and the log shifts under the weight of the beast, really showing their true size. Worry filled my mind, thinking of the others that haven't passed yet, wondering if I had lost them or if I was being surrounded like they did with my father. I creep to the edge of the log to peek out to see if the coast is clear. As I'm about to look, I freeze, seeing 4 large extruding claws from the monster's paws, slowly swinging past the opening of the log. The muscles of its legs contort and flex as it looks for its prey. Then it kneels. Steam billows from its long face and nose as it catches its breath, sniffing the air, trying to catch my scent. teeth protruding from the sides of its mouth as it starts to investigate the log. I've been found, I thought. This being the last moment on this earth, my destiny to be torn apart by the pack as the beast just did with my father. Sorry, I lost my space here. I hear a faint call coming from the direction of the cave. The beast pauses reluctantly, looking back towards the sound, and heads back up the hill just before spotting me cowering in my coffin. The shades, they called off the chase, but why, I thought to myself. They had me. Maybe I wasn't what they wanted, or so I thought. To give myself a moment of comfort, trying to process everything that transpired, I break into a moment of weakness, losing everything in a matter of seconds, but still frozen. My home, my family, myself in a sense, not knowing what my next move should be. The sound of the beast snarling with a chilling bloodlust that bolted past the log earlier come back in the direction, seeing a couple sets of legs run past, knowing I'm lucky to be alive at this moment. I wait for a few more minutes, but it feels like hours. Before I make my next move, I slowly crept, pulling myself out of the tight squeezing log I threw myself into. I reach the edge of the log, peek my head out. My eyes dart back and forth, expecting to be being surrounded by a group. As I look in every direction to see if the coast is clear, I pull myself to my feet, and I fell into the footprint left by the kneeling monster just before. Truly showing the size of the beast, the print engulfed my foot almost double in size. I swiftly make my way down the hill towards the river, with my ankle shooting in pain with every step. As nightfall sets in the valley, the stars fill the sky. The moonlight dimly highlights my path ahead. I need to stay alive so my father's sacrifice won't be in vain. The river is my best bet to make it out of here alive. The adrenaline fades as hours pass since the chase occurred. The sprinting, the running, and crashing down the hill have taken its toll on my body. I limp to my next destination, filled with physical but mainly emotional pain. The moon rises to its peak of the sky. My eyes slowly close, fading in and out as I walk, stumbling, after jolting back awake, realizing I needed to sleep if I planned to make it to the river. I mustered just enough strength to pull myself into a tree, laying my banged up body over a few thicker branches, thinking to myself, I might just stand a chance if they stumble upon me during the night. Exhaustion takes over as I try to get some rest. A bright glow awakens me, the warm breeze flowing over my body. As I open my eyes to the blinding morning sun, hoping that the night was just a vivid nightmare, but the new day assures me that's not the case. I make my way down the tree, dropping with a surge of electricity that shoots up my leg, reminding me that the pain I felt last night is still true. The river should be just over the next hill, as it's not an incredible distance, but it looks unfathomable. It looks like an unfathomable achievement with my injuries. But I'm not giving up. As I trudge through the forest, my stomach moans with hunger. The rabbit I had the other night hasn't kept me satiated. But it's not time for food, but the moment I'm safe. That's the first thing on my list. I wonder why those monsters attacked us. What have we done to deserve this? Why did the beasts listen to the shades? What were those killing machines to gain from working with the shades? These are the questions I fear I'd never have answers to. Exhaustion started to set in as I stumbled through the woods, the rocky mountainous terrain not doing me any favors. I'm constantly looking over my shoulder during this trek. I fear that I won't get the head start like I got last night. I'm doing my best to lay low, reaching the rivers as fast as possible, but my main concern. The image of the look on my father's face flashes in my mind as he told me to run. The horrid scene of him laying on the ground as the beast tears flesh from his legs, pulling him in every direction, will forever be burned into my mind. My heart aches for him. The rapids are roaring in the distance as I near the bottom of the valley. The end of the river empties into a grassland, the flat plains my father told me to head for if I was ever lost, because it's a quite safe place to recover. I finally arrived to the edge of the river bank, bending, snaking through the forest, rapids racing down at a quick pace. The white water filling the tops of the rapids, banging, twisting off the rocks to the horizon of the roaring river. Parched, I kneeled to get a much-needed refreshing drink of the spring mountain water. The cold water numbs my lips as I gulp down a mouthful. The ground shakes, and the sand behind me shifts. My ears snap to the sound of the footsteps, but the most unsettling presence charges towards me. I turn my head to see a mouthful of teeth bearing down to my neck. I managed to pull away at the last moment. The power of the monster knocked the air from my lungs, just missing the ivory vice that shot towards my face. The speed of the ambusher, powerful but uncontrolled, sends the beast in me tumbling into the freezing rapids. Underwater, my eyes wide from the shock of the attack and the freezing water, making it impossible to catch my breath. Seeing the beast struggle to fight the rapids being pulled under by the current, I'm able to surface for a brief breath. As I get pulled down as well. The air filled with the sounds of the pack creaking from the riverbank, from one of their own attacks without any plan, just rage being behind its eyes. I kick and swipe at the beast while trying to stay afloat as it attempts to clamp down on my limbs. Actively drowning but still trying to take me out. I crash into a log while I've been swept away by the ever-increasing flow of the water. I manage to dig my nails into the fallen log that's half out of the river. Clinging on for my life, the beast passes by, but it's able to use its last bit of strength to sink its teeth into my leg, with so much force that it feels like I'm being crushed by a boulder. My bones may snap at any moment. I throw my head back and howl in pain, the scream piercing my own ears while I manage to hold onto the log. I kick with my free leg, trying to release its grip, but it's unfazed. When I wrap my free leg around the log, I reach with my other hand and gouge for its eyes. It clamps down even harder with my attempts. I scratch and claw at its face until my nails caught its eyes, and I jam my hand down with more force than I ever knew capable of. The sensation of the release of pressure as my hand retracting into its skull. I feel the warm blood rushing over my hand as the beast releases its hold on my leg, and the muffled cries of pain while water fills its lungs rings out. The warmth quickly washed away by the freezing water. Looking back, the water churning white with the rapids as it flails trying to stay afloat, traveling to the horizon. The sound of the river grows louder as it reaches the edge. I stare into its black, soulless eyes with zero remorse for what I've done. As the monster follows the river over the edge to its death as the waterfall sent itself trying to kill me. Shouts coming from the shades, seemingly sad to see the beast go, brought me a sense of joy. The pack frantic, just seeing one of its own perish in the pursuit of the hunt, each foaming at the mouth with pure hatred. Satisfaction washes over me as I'm able to take something from them, even though it's not equal to what I've lost. Taking one of their own feels good. Pulling myself to the edge of the riverbank, leg broken, bleeding and beaten, I lay facing the pack, proud of my triumph. Shades step out of the shadows of the forest, the two of them shouting and seeing the scene laid before them. The beast's anger quells as the shades step forward, raising their arms. Closing my eyes, knowing surely it's my time. Life flashing before my eyes. I've lived a short, beautiful life with my father. 2 consecutive blasts ring out as the objects tear into my flesh. A warm feeling washes over my body and my vision fading in and out. My sight narrows to a pinhole of light. The sound of water splashing as the shades enter the water towards me, towards my lifeless body. And everything fades to black and peace fills my mind. I'm in a fog, barely able to lift my eyelid. Eyes shifting in my head, my body weightless, unable to move, facing the sky. A large, shiny object with many moving parts whooshed above, through the air, with a deafening whirling sound. My head falls to the side, still fading in and out of consciousness. I see the forest hundreds of feet below. And as I sail across the skies at the blaring pace, I fight to stay awake, and to think to myself that this must be death as my vision fades, and I black out again. Beeps in a rhythmic pattern awaken me again for just a moment. A blinding light, a foul smell fills the air as I get a glimpse of the shades surrounding me, breaking my limbs, pulling me apart, thinking what hell have I fallen into. As it fades to black in the blink of an eye, silence greets me as I awaken for a third time. I've been laid out on a pile of dried grass. A cold gray floor and a smooth gray walls remind me of the cave, but for just a moment realizing it's not my home. I stumbled up to see my foot wrapped with a white hard fabric surrounding my leg, a small opening in the walls beaming with light. I run to escape to the exit of the cold dark room. My eyes adjust. I'm shocked to see a forest like my home. I try to run and make it back to the river. As I do, I run into an invisible force field. I'm dazed as I look to see what knocked me onto the ground. It's my father. Large hazel eyes, a wide pink nose, whiskers stretching across both sides of its face. White tipped rounded ears with a brown golden fur across his forelegs and down his tail. I jumped with glee as I went to embrace him. He followed my every move as if stopping me from reaching him. The only thing I could do was touch our noses together. Then from behind my father's image, fades. Sorry. And then from behind my father's image, a group of fades of all different shapes and sizes standing there watching me, yelling and jumping for my arrival, as it seems. I freeze in fear knowing how dangerous they are. Minutes feel like days until the emotions from the shades' faces fade, and they walk way back into the darkness. I look around in every direction and saw this reflective force field on every wall. Then I realized that the father that I saw was just my own reflection. Paralyzed by the realization that I'm trapped in this place with no escape, dread sets in. As I now realize a fate worse than death, being tormented by the monsters that killed my father and for the remainder of my days. That is it.
Goddamn, dude,
Goddamn,
that was dark.
But
But also, that was fucking awesome. I knew you had it in you, goddammit.
Holy shit.
That
So-
was
That was
great.
good shit.
Well, it was supposed to be scary. Did you
Well,
guys
yeah.
Did you guys realize what the story was actually?
Yes, it's an animal that got taken to the zoo.
Basically, yeah.
As soon as you were like, they were on two legs and had no fur, I'm like, fuck, they're humans and this is an animal. This is a story about an animal. Fuck me. What animal was it? I could
I'm
not ken
stupid.
that.
So I described it at the end, and it was so large hazel eyes, wide pink nose, whiskers crushing across both sides of his face, white tipped rounded ears, brown golden fur across its forelegs and tail.
Kind of assuming a tiger?
Mountain lion, close.
Mountain lion, okay.
That's why
thought-
there's actually a bunch of signs in it because at the top
Flamingo.
it starts at the Pacific Northwest mountain ranges, which is where
right.
they
Well,
live.
see, the thing that told me it was like either a cat or a dog of some kind was he swiped at one of the rabbits and killed it.
And that's the thing. I didn't want it to be obvious.
Right. You did a very good job. I, for real, did not put it together until the humans showed up. That was fucking great, dude.
Thank you.
Dumbass me thought it was like a werewolf thing.
You're an
And then
idiot.
the pack, obviously the pack of beasts were dogs.
Yeah.
Damn.
So-
Not
Yeah,
gonna
that
lie,
was fucking
at
great.
first
And
I
like,
didn't realize the humans were humans. Towards the end, I kind of got it, but like at the beginning, I was just like, "What the fuck's a skinless animal?"
Good shit, Jake.
the
Thank you.
part where he like wakes up as he's getting his fucking arms and legs pulled,
Yeah.
I was like, oh fuck, I was like, I still don't know what animal it is. It could just be people eating it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that would be a horrible way to wake up, is like right
And
as they're gutting you.
And it was like the story itself really played into the fact that like the descriptions were very vague.
Yes, that's a good thing though. A lot of authors do that when they want to like kind of keep it as a mystery
The
until
suspense.
the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like.
So that was good, man. That was fucking stellar.
Thank you.
I am proud of you.
Did you recently watch Kevin James's A Zookeeper, and that's what you were inspired by?
No, I was actually I was literally at work. This is what I thought of when I was literally just out on the
He
floor
was
cleaning.
thinking about
Yeah,
Zookeeper.
no,
when
he came up
passed.
to me because I told
Because
him like
he
we're
feels
gonna.
like an animal in a cage.
I told him like we're gonna do spooky stream with our spooky stories again. He's like, "Fuck, I hate doing those. I never have any ideas." And then he's out cleaning, and like a couple hours pass. He comes back. He's like, "I've got an idea. I know exactly what it is." And I'm like, "Okay, what is it?" And he's like, "I'm not fucking telling you." I'm like,
Now, if I
"All
would
right,
have started earlier, there would have been more detail.
Yeah.
But
that's okay."
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was fucking awesome. Good luck following that, Zach.
Good job. Oh, trust me. You know me. Mine is, as always, in the same kind of zone as yours.
Yep. Elder gods,
All
nightmare
Elder
zoos,
Gods, Nightmare Zoos,
military
Groundhog Day,
elder god, nightmare
eight
zoos.
armies, things. Yeah. So mine, in the same vein as
Yeah.
usual.
Of course, of course.
I like to keep it pretty close. I'll let you know the title. The title is Friend Like Me.
Is it another Hayden Christensen story?
No.
That was
Dang it.
still one of the funniest things you've ever done. I'm not gonna lie.
That was one of the best things he's ever done.
It's like the only good thing.
All right, thank you. I'll take it.
Everything else, garbage. Just like you.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Hayden
Anyways.
Christensen would love that story. You should write it, print it out, and give it to him.
Muting in 3, 2, 1.
All right. So the title of this, like I said, is Friend Like Me. A man, Al A. Dean, is born, raised, and recently moved back to China, Texas, a small town in Texas named China after the China berry trees that grow there. And he has come back tasked to put together an important event in his small town that for years his town has failed to bring back together, the China Berry Festival. It was a locally beloved event that was held at the town's elementary school, China Elementary, that every year that celebrates its people and its history. Since the destruction of the school during the wake of Hurricane Rita in 2005, the festival has seemingly become a thing of the past. They've just been unable to bring it back to its former glory. Now, Al is a successful architect from mostly the Dallas area, but he's returned back to his town when he was reached out to by a former fellow student and one of his childhood crushes, Jessamine, who is the town's mayor now. And she has asked him to come back, rebuild everything, and bring the beloved China Berry Festival back to its former glory. Now the first task, he and the man he's bringing with him, his little bit smaller friend Abe, they must decide whether or not they should rebuild the mini Great Wall of China that was on the school grounds. That was actually placed there back in 1999 by Disney when they released Mulan. While Al is contemplating the rebuild and his rebudding feelings for Jessamine now that he is back home, in the rubble of the faux Great Wall, Abe finds a beaten and battered, but still intact, Aladdin toy genie lamp. He remembers them being sold the day the wall was placed, along with many other Disney toys. Disney's toys that day. Abe heads to Al, and seeing something written, but can't really tell what it is, on the side of the lamp, decides to jokingly rub the lamp like in the movie. When out from the lamp, a genie arose. Though blue, like the genie from the movie, this one was far wetter and fish-like. The genie, before any kind of warning, immediately attacks and consumes Abe. Al is frozen in fear when you don't know his name yet. That was my bad. When the genie looks at him with a familiar visage to an actor that you cannot place at this moment, and smirks and says, "Oh, was he your friend? Well, you ain't never had a friend like me." Al is snapped out of his frozen fear at the sound of the oddly unthemed threat and runs. Al thinking he's a goner, begins to slow down when suddenly he realizes that the genie is not able to chase him, stuck by only allowed a certain amount of way out of the vicinity of his lamp. Al sighs and looks at the camera and says, "Well, that's fortunate." And winks. He continues on his way in fear, wondering what the hell happened to his friend. He rushes to his car, gets in, and the first person he can think to call is the mayor, Jessamine. He goes to her in a panic, sounding mad, and reaches out to her and asks her what tries to explain to her what happened to Abe and what's going on. She's very confused, doesn't understand what's happening. He just eventually convinces her to just come with him, see what happened. Al and Jessamine return to the wall, but they do not find the lamp. Before Jessamine can start to believe that this is just some weird trick, Al looks down and sees a trail of water. They follow the trail of water around the remnants and ruins of this fake Great Wall, and come across Abe, but he is not the Abe that they knew. He is scaled and soaking wet and has glowing eyes and is just a corpse of himself. He says, "Oh, were you looking for your friend? Well, you ain't never had a friend like me." It attempts to chase them, but holding the lamp in its hand, tries to give chase, but it slips in a little bit of water that was on the ground, and it allows them just enough time to run and hide. Abe, sorry, I'm just forgetting how I was going to have it written out. I have most of this in bullet points. It changes tactic and decides to go for their vehicle and takes the vehicle and leaves. Al and Jessamine decide they need to figure out what the hell this thing is. And so they catch the nearest bus into town and go onto Google and learn that this genie is called a Merid. And they go through the history trying to figure out what kind of Merids this could be. And they find one called Robin. And they learn that Robin likes to, once summoned, tries to kill 3 close friends of the person that summoned it. Jessamine tries to get it out of Al, who tries to get out of Al, who could it possibly be? And instead of admitting his feelings to Jessamine in realizing it could be her, he points out, well, there is my old neighbor in town that was like a father to me, Jeff Barr. So they take the bus to the closest point that they can get to Jeff Barr's house. They go in, knocking on the door, rushing, and luckily find Jeff still alive. They decide this is the perfect time they need to regroup. So they come inside, they take a seat. Jeff goes to the kitchen to go get them a drink. They sit there and just kind of debrief for a second. When out of the corner of his eye, Al sees a shadow in the kitchen. Get confused and concerned what that could be. They go out to the kitchen, and as they take a step into the kitchen, he steps into a puddle of water. Before he can react, the fridge opens and out tumbles the corpse of their friend Abe. And they look to their right and they see, once again, now known in his name, Robin, consuming their friend Jeff Barr. He looks at them once again, now with a smirk and a belch, and says, "Oh, was he your friend? Well, you ain't never had a friend like me." The Merid turns his eyes towards Jessamine this time and looks to leap and attack her. But luckily, Al is able to grab the lamp before he does and kicks it out the window, sending him outside of the range of the attack. They quickly grab what keys they can find of Jeff's and steal his car and leave, seeing the corpse of Abe go and grab the lamp, and now a reanimating corpse of their now fallen friend Jeff attack or get up. Al admits now that the third person that's most likely in danger is her, admitting his feelings to her. It's at this point that Jess also admits that the reason she brought him here was for her was due to her feelings for him, and now instead of running away like he advises her, she insists that now that she's brought him into this mess, that she must help him defeat this genie. Not being able to find answers online, they rush to the local library, hoping that maybe there's an old forgotten book somewhere in the depths of the library that maybe will have some kind of information on what this could be. As they rummage through the library, they finally do find one book with some info on Marids. And as they begin to open it, suddenly the doors of the library are crashed open as now Robin and his now two corpse beings that he's controlled, Abe and Jafar, chase after to grab the last victim, Jessamine. She quickly hands Al the book and says, "They're here for you, or here for me. Find the answer." She hands him the book. She runs through the library in a very Scooby-Doo-esque way. She goes into one door, he goes into another door. They pop out of the hallway. They touch back to back. She runs away. She's finally cornered, just trying to throw books at these things, hoping to buy herself some time. While downstairs, Al is flipping through the book, looks down. You can't destroy the lamp. You can't rub its name off, but you can. Oh, that's the answer? He rushes over to the nearest audio system he can find for the library speakers. He plugs in his phone and plays "Friend Like Me" from Aladdin over the speakers. The beings suddenly start to dance and sing and play along to the song, and the two Al and Jess play along with the song as well and sing and dance until slowly but surely the genie fades away, soaking into the rug below. The two embrace once more and say, "I think it's a whole new world for us," and float away on the new rug. There you go.
Okay.
Hi.
I hate that they were all so wet. Why were they all so wet?
So, Married is a genie from the plane of water.
No, you actually did research on this?
Yeah, and
I'm
all that
actually
stuff,
very impressed.
all that stuff about China and Texas is real.
Are you fucking serious?
he just looked up.
I googled.
Is that what inspired you?
No. So I talked to my sister this week.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't think of anything.
I
And she was like, because I was like, I've done this. She's like, what if it was like an inanimate object? She's like, what if it was like the genie thing? I was like, ooh, okay. But I gotta figure out a twist. And so I spent like just the last couple of days trying to figure it out. Sorry, it's not as I was reading it, it was broken up a lot because as I'm reading, I was like, oh, this is really stupid. I love it.
Just falling in love with his own story again.
I was reading and I was like, this is so stupid. I'm glad that I wrote it like this. But I was like, okay, what if they kill? And I Googled it. I was like, because I was like D&D. So I went through the D&D ones and I was like, okay, there's Marids. And obviously, I love name puns.
I hated the name so much.
Robin.
And
Robin and Jessamine,
Al-Adine, Jessamine,
Jafar.
Actually, I like Jeff Barr. That was a good one.
I couldn't do anything good for Abu, so I just went with Abe.
I mean,
and so I was like just Googling funny names for towns. And
China.
one was China, Texas.
I love your creative process because it's nonsense. You're like, all right,
exactly.
I gotta write a story. How do I write a story? First, I start Googling goofy town names.
Yeah.
Then I look at the D&D monster manual, and then I'll shit something out tonight.
Like the System of a Down song.
So I Google China, Texas. I go to their Wikipedia page, and like for some reason, like the one thing in their history is that Disney came and made a whole fucking Great Wall of China for the release of Mulan in 1999. That was like a big thing in their town until it was destroyed in 2005.
China, Texas, Great Wall.
China #1.
I wanna see an image of it.
It's got
well, that's
Mulan
just a
written
border
on the side.
fence.
It's got a written.
Oh yeah, it's got right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like,
I want you to know, if I didn't know for sure it would get taken down when you said they were playing Friend Like Me, I would have played it.
I was thinking
if that would not, without a doubt in my fucking mind, get us flagged, that would have played. Because I was like, I have YouTube up. I could just get it right now.
So you know what's funny? I came up here with no ending. I had no ending in mind. I couldn't think of something. I couldn't figure out how to defeat it. And then we talked about Scooby-Doo. I was like, okay, there needs to be a Scooby-Doo chase where it's just like, it's like the scene where like they go in the door, the door.
Yeah.
The hallway scene.
Out comes like fucking someone you don't know. And then
out comes Don Knotts for some reason.
Yeah. And then
Jeff Barr.
I was like, how do you defeat it? And I was like, I couldn't find like a weakness written in like a monster manual. And I was like, breaking it feels like he should have just thought about that when he kicked it. And so I was like, what if it's just like a Bollywood ending? We're just like breaking the song. And I was like, we're going with the Bollywood ending.
I thought it was going like it's like they go to the school, they go through all this trouble, and then there's just like a musical at the end. That's what I thought you were gonna go with this. They all get up and start dancing. It's just a musical.
It was a Bollywood ending because Bollywood films are hilarious for just ending suddenly in song.
No, it's very strange.
I was like, fuck it.
You know, Zach, I gotta tell you, that was better than your normal.
Yeah, I'm very proud of how stupid that was.
Yeah, you should be very proud of the fact that from what you told us, that was primarily bullet points.
What'd you say, Keys?
Yeah.
I said I'm disappointed Hayden Christensen didn't pop up.
See, I thought about doing actors' names, but I was like, because the whole point was like doing puns with names.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I got the characters for puns, so I'll do that.
I heard him slip out the name Robin. I was like, is he really doing Batman right now?
Accidentally, I have it written here that it's Robin, and I was like, oh wait, shit, you guys don't know it's Robin yet.
Yeah.
So I was like,
you don't know that. You don't know that.
Forget that.
As soon as you said that, I was like, oh no, the whole story's spoiled.
Redacted.
Because it was like, then they Google it and find a fucking married called Robin.
Oh my
That's
god.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very
good. Thank you.
I
Had a love story in there for no reason. I love that.
The completely useless love story that no one cared about.
A lot of facts about a little town in Texas that had nothing to put, and no part other than that's Disney related. I can make that work.
I do like in the middle of the story you mentioned the word Disney, and then I looked at Mason's face, and he was just like, "What the?" He just had
I kept looking over and like I kept looking at Mason's face to see how disappointed and how stupid it was.
Because at a certain point I'm like, oh my fucking god, and then there's the punch. I'm like, fucking what? If you guys can't hear me, I am still making the sound. Like I am still saying these things out loud. I missed the very beginning of this because Jenna walked in. She had just gotten home.
Oh no!
I had to kind of piece it together
because it most of the information's at the very beginning.
I pieced it together. I figured it out, but it took a minute. I won't lie.
Yeah. So I always like to come into this challenge of making this and be like, how can I fuck it up? How can I answer the prompt without really answering the prompt?
I do like in the middle of the story, you're like, yeah, it's bolted right now. So
well, because I was like, I wrote it down and I was like, okay, and I was like,
I have an outline.
There's certain things. Usually I have a beginning and an end, and then the middle's bullet points to me because I'm like, I know that's the meat, but like I'll make it up. can
I'll
make
bullshit
that up.
my way through it. I can do that.
I did it.
Yeah, I did that the first year, and I was like, I can't do that again.
Yeah, no, I have to write it all out, or it'll just sound stupid.
How mine sounded without me writing it all out. The first one I did.
Oh, yeah.
That was like 3 sentences, and I had to BS the rest.
That
of
was so
Yeah,
funny.
that's basically what I did too.
Dude,
We
it's
threw
so
Keith
good.
under the
You're
bus
like,
so
alright.
fucking hard.
You like you could tell when you ran out of like text because you started stuttering a lot more. And 2, like you would see your face change where like you could suddenly see like you had a flash of inspiration, and now this is the thing I'm gonna go with.
Lovely.
It's okay, Keys. Everyone, I'm gonna be honest.
You had a really good one this year, man.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I wrote the one I've got on here for today in like an afternoon.
Wow.
Yeah, mine was just throughout whenever I had moments today.
I spent
Most
way
of
too
mine
much
was
time on this.
today.
No, Jake. Here's the thing. Yours was the best one.
Oh,
Yeah, yours
thank
was
you.
fucking amazing.
I wholeheartedly believe
I
that.
sure hope so. I spent like 15 hours on it. So
Yeah.
Oh my fucking god.
I'm glad that
Well,
we
I've
usually
been typing for like 3 days.
I know, but like I just assumed you were a slow typer or
I
something.
am a slow typer.
we usually come in here with
Why you bullying
someone comes in with something good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we need at least one person who like really took their time because I
Mhm.
know it's not going to be me. I never come in with that.
It's not
And
you.
I'm like,
I
Mason
usually-
has lore.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Mason-
was like,
He's
I
always has
usually
something very
try.
unique. It's like always like interesting with what Keys brings to the table because I'm always like, it's going to be something spooky and tentacly.
Yeah, I always try,
it
but I
may
can't
not
always
be a cool
guarantee.
idea.
No, I liked the whole bit. I was like, okay, it always is so much fun because all the stories are so different, so wildly different.
Oh, absolutely. It's the most true to form anthology.
Mhm.
I'm so
Alright.
mad that you guys caught that you guys were the original people in the story before I changed their names. Because I was like, okay, I know how to give Mason his nickname, Gunslinger. And I was like,
Yeah.
how do I do Zach? I was like, okay, I'll do Zach's last name because
No,
the
you know
walks
what?
with a cane.
You know what got me? It was there's a
Oh,
redheaded
shit,
man,
Mason.
a dirty blonde man, a bleached blonde man. I'm like, okay, so it's us. Got it.
And I did give a nickname description of Melitho, but he was nicknamed Keys like when I first had it, like all of them.
But he was the
Because I
most
was part of
handsome,
the
and
job with
oddly
the
enough, his
keys.
Yeah.
nickname was Keys.
Some really
Yeah.
hot guy named Keys with
Most
a
handsome,
Had a
powerful.
fucking 18 pack, bro. It was just
18
insane.
pack.
I mean, you saw him
18
flexing
pack
before
guns for
stream.
days
So.
all over his body.
But Zach was the first person to die,
Worth it.
Yeah, makes sense.
and then it was Mason, and then Jake.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
That
I'm a
sounds right.
survivor.
You made it to the end,
I can
almost.
be with-
Jake.
yeah.
Someone
And,
had to make it that
Like
far.
because it was an alternate Earth with mine, I didn't want to just call them machine guns. So I was like, what can I call them? I was like, shell slingers.
Mason, all your shit.
No,
got
which
fucked up, by the
honestly,
way.
that's a great fucking name for him. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie to you. All right. Do we want to actually play a game, or we want to just call it there?
It's 7:30. I think we'll probably call
there.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm fine with
I
that.
think that's
I
good.
gotta cook. I forgot about like starting.
I gotta
it up.
cook.
That's almost done.
Jesse.
Let him cook.
Go make your meth.
I'm always making meth. Zach, it's in your backyard.
I am the danger.
Melissa,
Why would
if
it
you're
be in
still
his
there,
backyard?
oh, you
You're
are.
the one
Okay,
with a
she is still
separate
there.
power grid for your garage, you fucking weirdo.
I hope you enjoyed hearing our insanity.
Who's got the second power grid?
You.
You. In
Oh
your
yeah,
garage.
I do.
Do you
For some
have
reason,
power to
they
your
won't let me
garage
use,
yet? I have to
my house
ask.
for it.
Do you have power in your garage yet, Keys?
Yeah, I turned it on like week 2.
Okay, good. I was gonna
Nice.
say that's insane.
He,
if you
he
don't.
keeps one light bulb in the corner just blinking.
I hope not.
He
I still don't have a trash bin though.
Ain't got no
Uh,
wheelie bins, huh?
just eats garbage.
He just throws it in the neighbor's yard.
I had one, and then I think my neighbor took it. And when I called Waste to see what my number was, none of the numbers match up with any of the ones in the alley. So
Damn.
Oh,
I was like,
perfect.
okay, maybe they didn't take it, and someone just came by and stole it.
All
and it's
I
been a
heard
month
was steal your neighbors.
before I've
Fuck 'em.
gotten a new one.
Yeah, just
Just
grind
play
your
the
number into
back
the
and forth
trash
with your
can.
neighbor. keep trading it back and forth with them.
Just steal any trash can and then just put it out. And if they say anything, be like, "What? It's got my number on it." And then you just like put Sharpie over their
your
number,
phone
and
number.
it just says Keys' number.
Call me. I have.
Call me. I'll fight you over this trash.
I'll fight you over this trash.
Fight me, bro. It's my trash bin now.
Oh,
My
bro, it's me
garbage.
dustbin. Don't you be fucking touching me dustbin.
You fucking
All
touching me.
right. So future
That's the
streams,
line.
join us. Not until next Thursday, actually.
Yeah, because I am in LA.
Yep, he is in LA, and I am probably not doing anything Friday because I don't know if I'm gonna
And
feel like
Jake's
it.
a bitch.
What the fuck?
Jake streams never.
Jake, I didn't know you were a bitch.
And,
Well, now you know.
Zach comes back Monday, I believe, but he won't be up
Yeah,
to
sometime
it.
Monday.
So
Wow,
Thursday,
Oh.
join us for VR Devour.
Yeah.
And then Friday, the following Friday, join us for something. I'll come up with a game.
There you go.
So, all right. But unfortunately, guys, Alexa, closing time.
Closing
Brady's is
time.
now closed. Get the f out of my house.
You're the lady.
Put those piggies away.
Happy Halloween, fuckers.